What's up everyone? Frank Valkyria, welcome to the channel. Today we're gonna review a news. As you know, every now and then we go over daily news, and I thought this news was absolutely necessary to share because more than ever nowadays we need a little bit of positivity. And by no means I intend to diminish what other people are going through or what happened to the grief that this whole thing has created for the past months, which is real, unfortunate, and we are just trying, all of us, just truly to go back and go back to what we know, of course. And again, we can argue that the problem was the past, the problem was the system the way it is, and therefore there is no going back. And I agree with that. If you realize that it just takes 2 months more or less to tip the scale towards disaster in terms of economy and everything else, then you also realize how reliant on the system we are in terms of production and consumption and all of that. So I'm also not naive thinking that that type of system didn't bring any benefit to us, because it did, especially in the westernized world. But still, you realize that now more than ever also we are in an uncertain terrain. I feel more uncertain now that they're starting to ease all around the world, like those restrictions in Italy, in Spain, in France, in the US. I'm not sure, because you have so many different type of sides. You hear Fauci in the US saying that these infections will spread again, possibly through the schools, so there will be certainly new infections. People accusing him to be too cautious, and of course you see all the leaders which they have this sense of urgency of trying to convince that now it's also time to ponder cautiously how to ignite the economy again, because they know, of course, that there cannot be help forever, even though we are not receiving like a huge amount of help. I'm a business owner myself, and has impacted me tremendously, and I understand very clearly that if this thing keeps going this way, it's not going to be good for anyone. But at the same time, like, I feel more uncertain now than before, because by easing up those restrictions, we're seeing around the world that things anyway are growing, like they're growing and speeding up in other countries the same way we had it in April ourselves in Europe or in the US. So you start to see new countries which they didn't have any significant numbers of those infections going around, going through their sort of escalation, and that it's worrying, because I'm not certain of how those things are monitored. You have a number here at the counter and you see like 4 million around the world plus have been infected with those things. Are those the people traced by algorithms, or by all those things that all those people which got tested, and there is like 10 per or 20 times or 50 times more the number of people which they've gone and tested and around? So let's say, speculating that the number of people which they've already gone through these or had mild cases or not being aware of it at all might be, instead of 40 million or 80 million or 100 million, 200 million. We don't know. I don't know. Certainly 4 million people, it's a very small number considering that we are 7.7 billion on this planet, or around there, and makes me wonder, like, how quickly, if this thing is so infectious, we're gonna go back to spread more to more people which haven't been exposed to this thing again, as soon as we start to go around the restaurants, even with precautions, because of course precautions will help us dramatically. And I think that the way we are behaving, it will change for a very long time. I see myself when I go do the grocery, like the lady mostly in every supermarket, or the guy at the door, she's spraying the handles of the tray of the trolley with alcohol. And I don't know how effective it is. For sure it's more effective than nothing, even if it reduces to whatever degree any exposure or any germ on that thing. And the way people also behave with themselves, paying more attention how you touch and how you touch yourself, which will decrease probably also the incidence of normal flus and all those other things. But it really makes me wonder, like, really makes me see that we're going to behave differently, and at the same time, we don't know exactly if this is done right now or we're going through a second wave. So personally, I feel more uncertain than ever before, but I'm also optimistic. I know that in the long term, we will emerge. That's a fact. That's a certainty. And that's a certainty that encourages me and makes me feel good. And then to close the loop here, that's why we are on this news, which I thought, apart the initial rant here, that was really worth sharing because it truly shows how beautiful humanity is in its resilience.
CNN, a 113-year-old woman, thought to be the oldest in
Yes.
Spain, has said she feels fine after surviving a brush with coronavirus.
Video footage of Maria Brañas, who was born on March 4, 1907, shows the supercentenarian speaking to the director of the care home where she lives in Olot, Catalonia.
In terms of my health, I am fine, with the same minor annoyances that anyone can have, said Brañas in the video. It was recorded Monday, a spokeswoman for the care home told CNN.
Brañas recovered after a mild case of COVID-19. Her battle started shortly after her family visited her on March 4 to celebrate her 113th birthday, the spokeswoman said.
113.
The family has not been able to visit in person since then. Brañas has lived for 18 years in her own private room at the Santa Maria del Tura nursing home, which is run by the Institute of the Order of San Jose of Girona, affiliated with the Roman Catholic Church.
Oh Lord, two things. Poor thing, she's been living here for 18 years, and I think it's a tragedy because probably this woman, she's pretty sharp in her mind. And to me, older people, they're a treasure. Just their existence, the fact that they're still here, it's like a monument, a testament to the resilience of human beings, and it needs to be preserved, but also be included in society, not rejected or hidden. You know, we just throw those people in freaking like a retirement home, aging home, or whatever they're called, because we are busy. We don't want them in the house. I understand that. But at the same time, I think it's quite tragic because they had so much. Obviously, not everyone. There's going to be always some grumpy a-hole. But I think with, with a lot of people, with love and kindness and affection, there's going to be always some getting back from those people. You know, there's going to be always some kind of emotional, beautiful exchange with the human being that it's been around for so long. And I truly value that. And I just want to know, this woman, the immune system of this woman, 113, she doesn't have a normal immune system. She has the freaking Avengers inside of her. Like, as soon as something is coming in, there is like Thor. Immediately will Mjolnir like boom, destroying everything. That must be the case because this woman, 113, she didn't even develop, like much of a case of this freaking virus, which is wonderful, and again shows that it's not a death sentence for everyone. And of course, this is probably an exception, but again, what a beautiful exception, what an encouraging exception. And also, we have to remember that we are tougher than we look. We're tougher than we look, and we will, like, for sure, over a long time, emerge out of this. But I just thought this is just such a wonderful, wonderful news to share.
Spokeswoman said.
Brañas was born in San Francisco in the United States, where her father worked as a journalist, reports the AFP news agency.
Over the course of her long life, she has survived 2 world wars as well as the 1918 flu pandemic, which killed more than 50 million people around the world.
Although Brañas recovered from coronavirus,
I want to listen to this woman.
Of the same home died of it. The situation at the care home has since improved, said the spokeswoman.
Anyway, we know that Spain is easing up also restriction, and this woman has gone through like 2 wars and the flu of the 100 years ago. it's just astonishing. Of course, probably was a child. She was a child then, so like the same way kids are not affected now, probably she was lucky not to be affected then. So anyway, guys, this is lovely. I saw also cases in Italy of older people surviving. I think they're a treasure. We should keep them more into society. People should interact more with them as long as they feel like to, of course. But I think it's also tragic that we remove those people from the society. Like this lady, she's 113. I don't know if she's able to walk on her own. Um, but obviously I also understand it's easier for them. People are being taken care of. I know it's also a business, but at the same time, I think it's tragic that we don't include them more into society because they're such a treasure. They're truly such a treasure. Don't forget that in the future, we will look back at this time like we look back at primitive people. You know what I mean? Like people of the 1500 or something, because humanity will for sure find ways of prolonging the lifespan, and the human of the future will certainly live on average to 120, 130, 150-year-old or more, perhaps. I think it's possible. I feel it's possible. I don't know how, but I have that certainty that with more discoveries, both through the mystery of this universe, and you know, with the expanding of our awareness through science and all of it, we will be able to do that, and we will look back at those times where we let people just of 70s or 80s just die. Like here in the Netherlands, there is a protocol that if you're older, you have some condition, they don't reanimate you. They will not reanimate you, which I think it's freaking crazy. And I know that it's a very pragmatic approach, but a person of 78 or something, a uncle of a good friend of mine, just passed away. He had another precondition, but they just gave him for death, basically. You know, they didn't do anything. They just gave him morphine at 78, and he went in 4 days. It just happened like 2 weeks ago. And I thought, like, wow, like we are so primitive that because we don't know how to perhaps handle certain things, we just let those people go. I mean, that's frightening, you know, that's really frightening. 78 is very young, in my opinion. In the future, there will be like middle age or something, you know, in the near future. And we will probably think like, wow, like they will teach kids that there was a time where our medicine was so primitive that we let people of 70 or 80 die. That's how it's going to be. So anyway, this is a wonderful news, a testament of encouragement to how strong we are and resilient we can be. And I will be so curious to speak to this woman because I'm pretty sure she has a tough mind. And that's, you know, like that's the thing that I'm interested the most. Probably she has a very strong spirit. And I wish her to live for another whatever many years she wants to be around. Please. Anyway, always spread love, guys. I'll see you later. You take care. Ciao.